Well, it is week 8 of the 2025 NFL season. Welcome back to the channel, everybody. And yeah, another solid week. As you can tell, I went pretty upset heavy in week 7, and I still turned in a pretty solid week at 10-5, 70-38 on the season. A couple games I wish I had back for week 7, though. If I could take 2 games back, I would take my Eagles-Vikings pick back and my Jaguars-Rams pick back, because I really picked Minnesota out of just the heat of the moment for the Eagles, and then I kind of went upset right there with the Jags. But everyone else I won't complain about. I'm still 10-5, pretty solid week. I needed a really good week after two really big letdown weeks, and let's carry the momentum forward. So yeah, relatively short week for week 8. We only have 13 games this week, as we have 6 teams on the bye. So let's get on right to it. These are my week 8 picks of the 2025 NFL season. And as always, we will start with Thursday Night Football between the Minnesota Vikings and the Los Angeles Chargers. I just said a moment ago that I more so picked the Vikings out of the heat of the moment for the Eagles. But yeah, Minnesota, they just showed to me that they're really not an elite team, and they're really not even that great of a team outside of Justin Jefferson and a good front 7. But yeah, I just really don't buy Minnesota all that much. The Chargers, I really don't buy them either. You know, they had an elite defense last year, and this year really hasn't looked all that great. I mean, LA's been giving up a lot of big plays this year, and they're really failing to find any kind of consistency as far as defense goes. So you have Justin Herbert, who threw 420 yards against the Indianapolis Colts. A lot of those stats came in garbage time with the Chargers down multiple scores to the Colts. And he also threw 2 interceptions. I mean, Justin Herbert is just one of those quarterbacks to where, like, he fattens his stats when they're incredibly misleading. So people say, oh, you see, he's an elite quarterback. You know, no, not really. I just don't see the hype with Justin Herbert. Never did. But, yeah, I will say LA is missing Omarion Hampton very much. He's been a driving force of the offense so far. And defense really needs to step things up. They're going up against Jordan Mason and Justin Jefferson in this game for the Vikings. But Carson Wentz, those 2 boneheaded picks that he threw against the Eagles, that's really all you need to know for this matchup right here. So I think for my key here, LA's front is going to really have to bring the pressure on Carson Wentz and make him beat them. And if that's the case, I think that's the favorable matchup right there. So for that reason, and because I'm a little undecided, I'm going to do what I usually do and take the home team. I'm going to go ahead and take the Chargers to get off the schneid, get back in the W column, and Minnesota continues to have a bit of a slump. So I'm going to go ahead and take the Chargers to get it done over the Vikings. All right, Sunday slate of games. We got no international games this week. So, yeah, normal Sunday slate of games. First up, got the Buffalo Bills and the Carolina Panthers. This one is down in Charlotte. So, the Bills, we need to have a bit of a talk, okay? I know you're coming off your bye week and you still have a good record of 4-2. But you've also dropped your last 2 games in pretty bad fashion as well. Josh Allen, he is absolutely among one of the best quarterbacks in the league. He arguably is the best quarterback in the league, but, you know, I would put him barely in the top 3 right now, and I understand he has 4 picks in the last 3 games, which really looks bad on his part considering he's the defending MVP, but I more so put that on the team itself, because they're like, oh, well, Josh Allen did it last year all by himself with what he had as far as his weapons go. He can do it this year. No, this year has proven that Josh Allen really needs the support for his team right here, okay? Somebody on Buffalo really needs to step up, okay? Because, like, you look at who they have as far as their receivers go, and besides really James Cook, no one's really stepping things up for the Bills. And now Buffalo is a game and a half, a full game back of New England in the AFC East because the Patriots beat them earlier. So yeah, Buffalo, you better figure something out, or else you could potentially even miss the playoffs this year with how stacked the AFC is so far. So yeah, I called the Bills my second choice for a Super Bowl contender, and I anticipate having my top 10 Super Bowl contenders in the next week and a half or so, and I really don't know if I'm going to include the Bills, depending on how they do. But somebody really needs to step it up with Buffalo. Bad look for the Bills. Carolina. They beat the Jets 13-6, and all of a sudden the Panthers are over 500, and they are 4-3 on the year. So Carolina, yeah, like I think they've won their last 3 games, and they've won 4 of their last 5 overall. So yeah, Carolina, they're all of a sudden playing a really good football right now. It was a very ugly win against the Jets, but you know, in the NFL, you take wins however you can get them. Bryce Young, he is really starting to work well with that decent run game that he's got, especially with Dowdle and Chuba Hubbard in the backfield for him right there. So I think what Buffalo needs to do in this game is that their defense really needs to be able to stop the run, because they have been getting beat on the ground all year so far. And I think if their pass defense shows up and they're able to shut down Carolina's receiving core, then they're going to have to make Bryce Young beat them right there, which I think is the favorable one. Because if you let Carolina open up the running game against them, and their improved defense is able to put the pressure on Josh Allen, Carolina can low-key pull off a victory. So, with all that being said, normally I would take the Bills because they are coming off their bye week, and I tend to lean towards the team that is more well-rested. But this will be my upset of the week. Carolina Panthers are my upset of the week. I think they take advantage of the Buffalo Bills playing sloppy football right now, playing very uninspired football right now. They look flat, and Carolina, they have the hotter hand right now. I think the Carolina Panthers upset the Buffalo Bills this week and go to 5-3 and make it 5 of their last 6 and 4 in a row overall. I'm taking the Carolina Panthers to upset the Bills. Next, we got the 49ers and the Texans down in Houston. How about the 49ers? They are 5-2 on the season with all those injuries that they've had, with players that are either injured or were injured, like Jennings. Mac Jones was hurt at one point. Brock Purdy's been banged up this year. George Kittle just came back and had a nice game. CMC's been healthy for the most part, and he's still proven that he is a very good contributor to that 49er team. And then, of course, over the last few weeks, Nick Bosa out for the year with a torn ACL. Fred Warner, they just lost for the year as well. All those guys were hurt, and all San Francisco's been doing was taking 5 of their first 7 games, and Kyle Shanahan, he leads this team to the playoffs. I think he is definitely in the running for Coach of the Year. What a job by the San Francisco 49ers. They got it done over the Atlanta Falcons, who have a good offense, but it's just inconsistent. They got it done 20-10 over them on Sunday Night Football. Houston Texans, as I'm recording this, they have currently just lost to the Seattle Seahawks on Monday Night Football, 27-19. Credit to Houston's defense. They did what they could in that game, but you know, if their offense continues to remain stagnant, they're going to have a hard time, you know, getting off the field right there and getting rest. So, yeah, like Houston, they still got the number 1 overall defense in the league, but like I said, offense has been sputtering this year. Now, credit to CJ Stroud. He has been improving a little bit as the weeks go on, but I just don't know if I'm fully ready to buy into the hype with the Texans offense right here. So, yeah, man, I think this is going to be a pretty low-scoring game. I think both defenses are going to show up here, but at the end of the day, I think it comes down to who I trust more offensively. And right now, to me, that's the 49ers. I think San Francisco is doing it more on offense than Houston is, and they've proven themselves a little bit more. Get CMC going for this game, and Mac Jones continues to find George Kittle to be his security blanket. I think the 49ers can take this game and go to 6-2. All they've been doing is winning so far. Houston, I still think they need to prove something to me. So, yeah, normally I would go with the home team, but I think I am going to lean towards San Francisco in this one again. Give me the 49ers to get it done over the Texans. Well, what, 19 days ago, or 12 days ago, these two met in New Jersey, and the Giants absolutely embarrassed the Eagles. Well, 17 days later, they go to Philadelphia to play each other for round 2. Giants and the Eagles at the link. The Giants, oh my goodness, they were shutting out the Broncos 19-0 through about 48 minutes of the game. Looked like the Giants were going to pull off a dominant win over the Broncos. And then they had a historic implosion in the fourth quarter. The Giants lost 33-32 to the Denver Broncos. And if you heard me right, then yes, you heard it right when I said they were shutting out the Broncos through the first 3 quarters. New York allowed all of Denver's 33 points in the fourth quarter. That has to be an NFL record for the most points scored in a single quarter. That has to be. At least in the regular season, it has to be. Wow. 33 points allowed in the fourth quarter. How do you lose a game like that? Oh, wait, I know. Now, I'm not going to go too hard into Jackson Dart because he's a rookie, but you can't throw an interception like that. It's too much of a forced pass. You can't have a rookie quarterback make a decision like that. Causes an interception. And then New York's kicker, he just ought to stay his ass in Denver. He shouldn't even ride the team plane back. He misses 2 extra points. You can't do that. Bro, like, literally, if you even hit one of those extra points, this game probably goes to overtime and the Giants probably win. But, yeah, 2 missed extra points. That cost the team right there big time. A lot of people like to say, oh, the Steelers only kick field goals and extra points. Yeah, well, guess what? At least the Steelers make them. What do you call that? 2 missed extra points, and that was the difference in the Giants winning and losing that game against the Broncos. So, yeah. I don't know how the Giants lose like that. Granted, I still think Cam Scatterbo and Jackson Dart really have something special with the Giants, but that defense, 33 points in the fourth quarter. Dude, what are you doing? Wow. And the Giants are 2-5. As for Philly, thank you for finally waking up. I tore into them last week against the Minnesota Vikings because they were playing like absolute shit, but Philly finally woke up. They were able to move the ball down the field. They were able to push the ball effectively. They were able to get into the red zone. They were able to make some big plays. They were able to capitalize off of Minnesota's mistakes. Maybe the 3 extra days of rest is what the Eagles needed, and they are 5-2 on the year. Snapped a mini skid for them, and the Eagles, people seem to forget that they're the defending champs, and I did for a second as well. But yeah, then I remembered, oh yeah, this team won the Super Bowl 8 months ago. So yeah, Philly, they are still looking really good. Saquon Barkley got going, and I think Saquon is going to remember last Thursday night about how he foolishly tried to troll the Giants right there before the game. So I think maybe Saquon can get his head on straight this time and turn in a solid game against his old team. It's really hard to beat a team twice in one season, especially when they're good, and especially when you played them 2 weeks before. So I am going to go ahead and take the Philadelphia Eagles to win this game to get the split over the Giants, but I do have the Giants making this game closer than what people think. I do not think this is going to be a blowout. I definitely think the Giants are going to be competitive, but yeah, I'm going to go ahead and take the Philadelphia Eagles to win this one over the Giants and get back at them. Next, we got the Browns and the Patriots in Foxborough. Short, sweet, to the point, I'm taking New England to win this. So, do I think New England's a good team? I think they're pretty solid, but I will also say that outside of Buffalo, I really haven't been impressed with who the Patriots have played because they've had a pretty soft schedule thus far. You know, because, they're 5-2 right now. And 4 of their 5 wins have come against teams that were under 500. Now, like I said, credit to New England. They beat the Buffalo Bills. They're a very good team. They're a popular Super Bowl contender. But the rest of New England's opponents aren't really all that impressive. Okay? Well, maybe except Carolina, too, because they're over 500 right now. But the Panthers were under 500 when they played New England, and I don't know if I'm ready to say Carolina is legit yet. So, yeah, 4, maybe 3 of their... So, yeah, 1, maybe 2 of their wins are impressive, but at least 3 of them I'm not really impressed with, okay? Miami, New Orleans, and Tennessee, okay? Those are 3 weak teams right there. And now they have another weak team in Cleveland right here. So, Judkins and the Browns defense are really all they got going right there. Judkins had a really nice touchdown run for Cleveland. He ran for like 45 yards for a touchdown. And, you know, Cleveland, if they can shut down the run game right here, because Ramondre Stevenson is fumble prone, as shown in the game against the Steelers earlier this year, I think the Browns might have a chance. But, yeah, as long as Drake May keeps slinging it down the field, keeps finding Stephon Diggs, and the Pats defense shows up, New England's going to have no trouble here. So I'm going to go ahead and take the Patriots to get the 6-2. Next, we got the Bears and the Ravens. This one is in Baltimore. And, you know, all trolling aside for the Ravens, I think the bye week is what they needed because that gave Lamar an extra week to recover and an extra week to get fully healthy, or at least a little more healthy. Because I think this is the first week since week 4 where Lamar has a legitimate chance at playing. He is listed as questionable, so I don't know if he's going to play in this game. But regardless, I really don't know if I can really pick Baltimore right now, man. I mean, their defense statistically is the worst defense in the league. And I know that they were able to hold the Rams in check the last time that they played. But still, when your defense is on pace to allow to allow almost 600 points this season, you really need to find a way to step things up defensively right here, because now you're going up against the Chicago Bears, who are also hot at the moment. They've won 4 in a row. They're 4-2 on the season. And Caleb Williams and that offense, with what he has to work with, are playing some really decent football right now. Chicago has great weapons in Odunze and Swift as well, but Chicago's defense has been a bit of a letdown as well. So if Lamar is able to play in this game, he can absolutely take advantage of a spotty Chicago defense right there. But again, it comes down to who I trust more as a well-rounded team. And to me right now, that's the Chicago Bears. So I think regardless if Lamar plays or not, I'm going to take Chicago to win this game. Okay, like I said, the Bears defense is spotty, but it's a hell of a lot better than Baltimore's dead last ranked defense. And Chicago's offense is clicking on all cylinders, whereas Baltimore, it's almost like the Ravens need a viable backup option for Lamar Jackson. Joe Flacco, perhaps? The guy that won Super Bowl MVP for him in 2012. Anyway, But yeah, like on it. But yeah, like seriously, Baltimore's offense is just so anemic this year. And with Lamar, they could get in a shootout with the Bears. But yeah, like I said, regardless, I am going to go ahead and take Chicago to win. Lamar or no Lamar, I'm taking Chicago to get the 5 straight wins. Dolphins and the Falcons in Atlanta. Another tricky one here, to be honest with you, because Miami's 1-6. They are a terrible team. In my opinion, they might be the second or third worst team in the NFL this year. Miami, they just... Man, the Dolphins are so bad. They can't tackle. They can't finish tackling. They can't play defense. Their offense is inconsistent. They do have weapons, but they never play up to their potential. Tua Tagovailoa threw 3 interceptions against the Browns, and Miami just has no momentum whatsoever. As for Atlanta, you know, Miami... They're 1-6, but their only win was against the Jets, who are still winless on the season. So Miami hasn't even really beat anyone all that impressive. The Dolphins are terrible. Atlanta, whereas like with the Saints, you can say, well, they beat a spunky, fun Giants team at least. But yeah, like, and Tennessee had that comeback win against Arizona, but Arizona more so shot themselves in the foot. But yeah, like Miami, they beat the winless Jets. So yeah. As for Atlanta, they're coming off a bad loss to the 49ers last Sunday night, 20-10. They were absolutely shut down by San Francisco's defense. And Bijan Robinson is just carrying this team so far because Michael Penix, while he has been more decisive and he has, you know, starting to look more like a competent starter, he's so inconsistent, man. You know, Drake London stepping things up with Atlanta as well, but man, like, Atlanta, they're such a tease because I know they have all the intangibles to be a great offensive team, but they just never play up to it. So really, in a way, it's a battle of 2 underachieving teams right here. So I'm going to go with the team that I ironically trust more, and right now it's Atlanta. I honestly never trust the Falcons because every time I pick them, they lose, and every time I pick against them, they win. But Miami stinks this year. Okay? So, yeah, maybe this will be the one time that I'm actually right about Atlanta because I'm going to take them to beat the Dolphins here. Jets and the Bengals in Cincinnati. And just as a spoiler, this is the first week in a while where I have not had a toilet bowl this week. Yeah, I got no toilet bowls this week. If I had to pick a matchup that's the closest one to it, it'd probably be this one. But I really don't consider this to be a toilet bowl because, yeah, the Jets are 0-7. They're a terrible football team, and Aaron Glenn is 0-7. But yeah, the Jets are terrible, but the Bengals... I mean, the Bengals aren't good, but they're not terrible either. The Bengals are a very mediocre team, but I will say they absolutely have a ton of firepower on offense, and Joe Flacco is a really good backup. But yeah, Cincinnati's defense stinks. So if I had to pick a toilet bowl that's the closest to it this week, it's this, but I really don't consider it to be a toilet bowl. So yeah, no toilet bowl this week. First time in a while, man. But anyway, Jets and the Bengals in Cincinnati. The Jets, this is the first time in franchise history where they have lost back-to-back games allowing 13 or fewer points. The Jets just continue to find ways to lose, and that's why they are such a bad football team. They never get any sort of break whatsoever. You know? Like, the Jets' defense is pretty good at times, and then there are times where it looks like it's a total liability on the field. They can't get anything going offensively, so much so that they actually benched Justin Fields. So, it's that bad for the Jets right now. As for Cincinnati, as I said, they have firepower on the offense. They definitely have the offense to win a game. We should know firsthand because Jamar Chase had fucking 16 catches against us last Thursday night on 23 targets. I don't think any other receiver in the league is going to sniff that for the rest of the season. So, yeah, as long as Flacco just keeps throwing it to number one out there, literally and figuratively, the Bengals are going to be fine. Now, Cincinnati's run game is still not very good, but, whenever someone plays the Steelers, they allow season bests against them. I don't know if the Jets' defense is going to be as bad there, but, the thing here is that the Jets are 0-7, Cincinnati has 3 extra days of rest, and they stay at home. I'm taking the Bengals to win this one, get back to 500. So, yeah, the Bengals lost 4 in a row, and that win over the Steelers is huge because now they are looking at a situation where they are 4-4 potentially, and depending on what happens Sunday night, they could be right back in it in the AFC North. So, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and take the Bengals to get the 4-4. Bucs and the Saints down in New Orleans. And this, honestly, isn't as easy as you'd think because the Bucs got beat 24-9 to the Detroit Lions on Monday night. They had a really bad game, but you can't really assign them any sort of blame because they're down Bucky Irving. They're down Egbuka, their rookie receiver, who's really stepped things up for the Bucs. They're still down Chris Godwin, I believe. And now they're down Mike Evans for the rest of the season because Mike Evans broke his clavicle against the Lions, and he's done for the season. That is such a blow to Tampa right there. This is a perennial 1,000-yard receiver, and he's not going to be playing for the rest of the season. Because I kept saying for weeks now, you put Mike Evans in with with that offensive weaponry that Tampa has with Baker Mayfield playing at an MVP level, the Bucs are a Super Bowl contender. I don't know if Tampa's a Super Bowl contender now because they're missing Mike Evans. Wow, that's a devastating blow to them. I mean, they're still winning, don't get me wrong. They're still a really good team, but as far as them being a Super Bowl contender goes, I don't know about that now. But they're playing the New Orleans Saints. Spencer Rattler's accuracy stinks. Can't find his guys, can't make an accurate throw, can't make a throw on the dot. And it's not like New Orleans doesn't have weapons because they do. You can tell that they're trying to get something going offensively, but Spencer Rattler just can't make it work. So for this matchup, I think it's going to come down to Tampa's front seven right here, and I really don't think that their secondary being spotty in this game is going to be much of a concerning factor. I'm not too worried, but I'm also not overly confident. I'm going to go ahead and take the Bucs to win this game to get back in the W column. And yeah, hopefully some of the guys that I just listed can get a little more healthy. But yeah, I'm going to go Tampa Bay to get the 6-2. I just can't trust the Saints to win a game. Next, we got quite an interesting one. The Dallas Cowboys and the Denver Broncos in Denver. So, the Cowboys, they have the number one offense in the league so far. And yeah, I mean, I say on record, and I have said on record, that Dak Prescott's overrated. Which, yeah, I still stand by that. He is overrated, but a lot of people don't understand the difference between overrated and bad, okay? Dak is a good quarterback, even a very good quarterback, even a great quarterback, okay, if everything goes right. He's a great quarterback, but he's not elite, okay? I feel like when people say that Dak's elite and Dak is a top 5 quarterback in the league, no, like, see, you're overrating him right there, okay? That's what I mean by that. Dak is a very good quarterback, a great quarterback even, okay? He's debatably a top 10 quarterback in the league, but he's not elite, and he's not someone that you'd want to trust to take you on a deep playoff run, okay? So you're overrating him right there. That's what I mean by that. But anyway, Dallas's offense is great, okay? CeeDee Lamb coming back, that was huge for him as they had a very big win over Washington right there. And pairing him with George Pickens is going to make a very nice combo for the Cowboys right there. But, you know, Dallas, kind of like the Bengals, where they're able to put up points in bunches and yards in bunches. Dallas's defense is completely abysmal. And going up against the Denver Broncos, who are coming off scoring 33 points in the fourth quarter against the Giants, who have a better defense than Dallas does, that is going to spell trouble. Like I said, it was 19-0 through 3 quarters, and it was 26-8 New York with under 6 minutes left, and the Broncos still won. Okay, when the Giants made it 32-30 on that touchdown, Denver moved like 60 yards in like 30 seconds. That is... How do you allow that to happen, man? But yeah, like, you're going up against Bo Nix and Sean Payton. They're able to come up with some great plays. And Denver, with the defense that they're able to have, with the capabilities that it has, maybe they just ran into a Giants team that's unidentifiable with the young guys that they have right there on their offense. But now they know what they need to do to beat Dak Prescott. But still, like, stopping CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens is a big order right there. So, yeah, Denver, they're definitely no slouch on offense either if they're able to score 33 points in the fourth quarter. I keep coming back to that, man. But, yeah, very interesting matchup right here. So, I'm a little undecided for this matchup. So, again, I'm going to go with what I usually do, and I'm going to go home team. So, I'm going to go ahead and take the Denver Broncos to win this one here, just because they're the home team, just because Denver's a tough place to play with the high altitude, and I don't know if Dak is going to be able to deal with that altitude and deal with that Denver front and that defense that's more than capable of limiting them. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and take the Broncos to make it 2 in a row and get to 6-2. Then we got the Titans and the Colts. This one is in Indianapolis. And yeah, I am absolutely locking up the Colts this week. The only question that I have for this matchup here is 15 too much for the Colts. Okay? I honestly don't think it's much of a stretch to say that they're a 15 or 14.5 point favorite here. Because the Colts, they are the highest scoring team in the league. And they have both offense and defense. Okay, Daniel Jones and Jonathan Taylor, I had no idea that they're practically Peyton Manning and LaDainian Tomlinson, because that's who they're playing like on the Colts right now, you know? What a team the Colts have on offense right there. And their defense is really good too. And going up against the Tennessee Titans, who might just be the worst team in the league, they're absolutely a bottom 3 team in the league right now. Cam Ward continues to play sloppy ball, but I don't assign much blame to him. I blame that on coaching and the O-line right there. Tennessee's dropping passes, and they can't run the ball efficiently. Going up against the highest scoring team in the league, yeah, I'm taking Indy all day. I am locking them up all day, and I am not looking back. All right, Sunday Night Football. My matchup here. The Green Bay Packers at 4-1-1, going to Pittsburgh to take on my team, the 4-2 Pittsburgh Steelers. Oh, hey, I don't know if you know this or not, but Aaron Rodgers used to be the Packers quarterback. Just throwing it out there in case you didn't know that. Anyway, yeah, we all know the headline for this game. But yeah, Green Bay, they had a comeback win against the Arizona Cardinals. And yeah, like Green Bay, they are a very good offensive team when everything goes right for them. Jordan Love playing some pretty good ball. Josh Jacobs, I don't think really gets a whole lot of credit when it comes to Green Bay's offense right there. He is really carrying the bunch right there for the Packers. They got some nice set of receivers, and their O-line is absolutely playing up to par. And then Green Bay's defense at times looks a little bit off this year. So, yeah, like, the thing about the Steelers is that offensively, the Steelers are not a great team offensively, but we absolutely can put up some nice offensive numbers. And I think with the Steelers coming in on 3 days of rest, coming back home, you know, that's a big advantage for him right there. But still, like, I just can't, I can't fully trust this Steeler offense right here, okay? Because, yeah, like I said, you got guys like DK Metcalf. You got, you know, he was a little quiet Thursday night, but I don't assign much blame to him when he made a nice catch, and then he had a pass ripped out of his hands for an interception, okay? I don't assign much blame to him, because also Aaron Rodgers was targeting the tight ends as well, which, something that I should have said in my recap, in my reaction video. Why are the Steelers using tight ends in wide receiver screens? Yes, absolutely keep using your tight ends, but why are they being in wide receiver screens? It's just a bad design right there and bad offensive scheming. Tight ends are not agile enough to be able to go one-on-one with defenders right there on a short pass play. Tight ends are designed to be used to attack the middle of the field. And yes, Muth and Washington were targeted across the middle of the field at times, especially when Muth had that long touchdown against the Bengals to give the Steelers the lead. But yeah, like, this offense has talent for sure, but it's the scheming that needs a lot of work. And for that reason, I can't call this Steeler offense elite. Okay, Jaylen Warren, amazing game last Thursday night. He's going up against a tough Green Bay run defense. So we absolutely need to have Jaylen Warren and Kenneth Gainwell to have solid games here on the ground. Like, you know, as much as I love Jaylen Warren, as tough and gritty as he is, I also don't want the Steelers to run him into the ground, you know? Like, definitely have Jaylen Warren and Kenneth Gainwell get split carries. So, yeah, that's definitely something that the Steelers need to do. But this Steeler defense, I stand by this. Don't ever call this Steeler defense elite again. TJ Watt getting chipped all night against the Bengals, who don't even have a good O-line. And now you're going up against Green Bay, who has a very good offensive line. So, yeah, if you're not able to get pressure on Joe Flacco, good luck trying to get pressure on Jordan Love when he's safe and sound behind this offensive line. Somebody needs to step up, whether it's Nick Herbig, whether it's Alex Highsmith, whether it's Keanu Benton, whether it's Harmon, okay? Somebody needs to pressure Jordan Love. Because if TJ Watt's not doing it this year, then somebody else needs to do it. Secondary is fucking garbage. I mean, there were plays where the closest defender to Jamar Chase was like 10 yards away from him. What the fuck kind of defensive scheme is that? Okay? I don't know what this defense is doing. Chunk plays. Not being able to cover guys on screen passes. What a terrible game the Steelers had defensively. And it's not getting any easier because you're playing Green Bay now. And then the very next week, oh, no big deal. You only got the highest scoring team in the league in Indianapolis. This defense is so overrated and so bad at defending the pass, man. Just wow. So the Steelers are 4-2, but they're not a convincing 4-2. We're not a do you anyone who's not a Steeler fan, okay? Do you seriously buy this team as a legitimate contender in the AFC? I'm a Steeler fan, and I'm telling you, that's a hard no for me. This is not a legitimate team. So who do I have winning this game? I'm taking Green Bay to win. Okay? We all know Mike Tomlin shits his pants against very good to elite teams. We know Mike Tomlin plays very badly and preps up very badly in the recent years against teams that are on the rise and teams that are potential playoff teams. Okay? Aaron Rodgers might be able to keep us in this game, but he's going up against a better defensive team right now in Micah Parsons, and he's going up against a defensive team that's more than capable of bringing heat. And at 41 years old, and with his maneuverability in the pocket still being okay, not what it used to be when he was in his prime, I don't think that is a favorable matchup for us. So yeah, that's my key factor right here. Green Bay's pressure and their offense going up against our defense. Like I said, Steelers might be able to make it a game offensively, but it's just going to be a very bad night if the Steelers are not able to make a stop like they were not able to do against the Bengals. I'm taking Green Bay to win this game. Wrapping up Week 8, we got Monday Night Football. The first one Monday Night Football game in a while. We got the Washington Redskins and the Kansas City Chiefs at Arrowhead. So Washington, they had an ugly loss against the Dallas Cowboys last Sunday, and I think they are 4-3 on the season, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's what their record is. I can't remember it. But yeah, Washington, they're still good, but they're not looking like the elite team that I expected them to be. Now, sure, Jaden Daniels got hurt again, so he's starting to become a bit injury-prone, and they got a phenomenal backup in Marcus Mariota. But the thing is, they're going up against Kansas City. Now, I said weeks ago I was not going to hit the panic button with the Chiefs, and this is exactly why. They were 0-2 to start off the year, and I don't think anyone remembers that because they've taken 4 out of their last 5 since then. And honestly, Kansas City could be on a 5-game winning streak if Mahomes doesn't have that pick 6 against Jacksonville and their defense is able to get a stop on Jacksonville. So they honestly could be 5-2 right now, but they're 4-3. They, like I said, I'm not hitting the panic button with Kansas City. I think they just got off to a slow start. Now the Chiefs are looking like the Chiefs of old and the Chiefs that we all know and love. Kansas City's going to be just fine. With Rashee Rice being back there, he's definitely a difference maker on that Chiefs offense right there. Their secondary their defense is still playing really good football. And with Washington being banged up, aside from Jaden Daniels, with Deebo Samuel and Scary Terry still hurt, I'm going to go Kansas City to win. This is going to be my spread of the week. I think Kansas City covers it all night. Washington, they might be able to get a run game going here, but yeah, I don't trust really anyone going up against Kansas City's defense right there. So I am going to take the Kansas City Chiefs to win 35-17. I think they cover the spread very well against Washington and get to 5-3, so give me Kansas City. That'll do it. Those are my Week 8 picks of the 2025 NFL season. Let's have another strong week. Let me know what you think down in the comments below, and I will see you in the next one.